Thanks for tuning in to part 3 of the Fishbowl with George R.R. Martin. When you're getting ready to interview a legend like George R.R., you need to have your questions straight, but he flipped the script and asked me some questions, including questions about head trauma in pro sports and why we as professional athletes seem to go broke and squander our money right after we retire. I wanted to pivot a little bit, really a quicker question, a more fun question. What superhero power would you want if you could have it?
Well, boy, that's a tough one. I would always love to fly. I always thought flying was cool.
You wouldn't have to wait in line at airports, none of that stuff. I hate airports, so.
Yes, I do. I do too, especially since I've now become, well known.
Yeah, you're
suddenly someone recognizes me, and then suddenly there's a circle of people around me wanting selfies.
It's never the first person. What I get annoyed with is the person that like see the picture and then they flock and they're like, I don't know who you are, but I know you're famous. Like, I love talking to people that are fans. Like, I'll talk to any fan, especially kids. But the person that I'm eyeballing that walks over because they saw somebody else take a picture, that can be a little annoying. So
if I could change history, I'd go back and kill whoever decided to put cameras in cell phones.
I mean, know what? You got something there.
At that point, there was just an occasional guy who had a camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, like, everybody has a camera all the time. And frequently, they don't even really want to talk to you or meet you. They just want
to take the picture. I enjoy a good conversation, so, but my superhero power that I would like, obviously as a football player, would be Wolverine. You mentioned your buddy that created Wolverine. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I guess that's what it's like to be on HGH or steroids or one of these guys that's like shooting up. But for me, it's like, it takes so much in the NFL. Literally, our week is, you wake up Monday, you can't walk. You wake up Tuesday, the Toradol wears off, and you can't move. And it's almost worse. And then Wednesday through Thursday through Friday, you're working through pain, and you really feel better by Saturday or Sunday. So Wolverine would be my power.
Well, the healing factor would definitely be good there.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, do you worry about the long-term effects, the concussions and late in life, not?
So George, yeah, it's a great question. I think we are the last generation that won't fully understand the ramifications of what we're doing to our bodies. I think when we look at the next generation, my son's generation, who I hope he doesn't play football, both my sons, I hope he does something much cooler, like become a writer or something. But, my dad played ball. He played 13 years. He's not a guy who I could grow up and play catch with or go hiking with or the things I love to do, and he sacrificed his body for that. Now, the one thing is he's cognitively awesome, and he's really sharp. He's one of the smartest guys, most even-keeled guys I know. I think there are a lot of concerns with head trauma. But it's compounded when your family played the game for 13 years. And on top of that, though, I don't think they have a great handle on predicting behavioral outcomes. So I do think some of it's genetic, some of it's a guy's mental wellness that could have nothing to do with head trauma. I think nowadays we get into this game where anytime a player is going through something, we automatically are like, well, that guy has CTE. I think there are existential crises. I think there's, when you leave the game, you have to grapple with reinventing yourself, and you have to grapple with being somebody new. So that can challenge your existence, and that's a big issue. And I think a lot of guys go through that. I think we just need to wait a couple more years. But my body feels great. I hope I'm good. Nothing I can change about the past now, but here I am talking to you on Skype, so my brain's working pretty well.
I'm always startled by the accounts of NFL players and other sports figures who I know have made tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they're broke.
I think when a normal guy on Wall Street gets rich, there's a few people in his family that know it. The guy that sees him walking down the street in an Italian suit, they know that guy's rich. But when you're a wealthy athlete and you've got a name and your salary's Google, I think you do get some sharks, and you get people that are your family and friends, but they become sharks because it gets into this dependency on you're used to providing for everyone. And a lot of guys in my league didn't grow up how I grew up, and that included my dad. My dad grew up in Charlestown, South Boston, tough upbringing. And gave me a life he didn't have. So he had to probably deal with more of the, you know, I grew up and came from nothing and I'm the guy with the big paycheck now. You know, where I grew up, you know, I went to a good school, I've got good friends, I stay in touch with everybody. And I think another thing is like you front load your earning potential as a player. So what you have is a bunch of money up front, you see everybody else in this rat race for a lifestyle, and then the music stops. And you're not only going through this crisis, you have a ton of free time. And what do guys do with free time? They spend money. And I think that's a big problem.
I was just in Los Angeles recently, and I visited the Peterson Auto Museum, which is an amazing museum if you like cars. They have a special display right now of cars from movies and television. So they have the cars from Mad Max and the DeLorean.
Do they have Knight Rider?
Yeah, they have Kit. They have Kit from Knight Rider, and they have the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and some Death Race 2000, all of that. But they also have their regular displays. And one of them was a display of electric vehicles. And I'm wandering through that, and I saw this car built by a company called U.S. Electric Car, right? Which really had a personal resonance for me, because in the early 80s, around 1983, I sold my novel Fever Dream, my vampire steamboat novel. And for the first time in my life, I had enough money to invest. Up to then, I've been, you know, just living, paying my mortgage, hoping I'd sell something else by the time it came. But now I had enough money, I said, well, I should buy some stocks and bonds, right? So being a science fiction writer, I said, well, I know the wave of the future, what's going to come. So I'm gonna invest shrewdly in things that'll come in the future. So I invested in U.S. electric cars. I said, electric cars, yeah, that's the future. I know that. I'm a science fiction guy. Of course, I had the right idea, but I was 20 years too early and the wrong company. I lost, of course, every cent that I put in U.S. electric cars. And now I'm looking at one of them in the museum, and it's got a little plaque next to it saying, oh, yes, this company existed for 2 years, and they only sold one car. And here it is. So I invested in a company that sold one car.
Well, you had too much foresight. That's the problem. You were too far ahead. You were a step ahead. You had to let everybody else get out of the way, and then just wait for Tesla, man. Thanks for watching part 3 of The Fishbowl with George R.R. Martin. Part 4 is very interesting. He talks about his life in Santa Fe, his passion for wolves, his movie theater, and his favorite sports movies, of course.